You're watching BCTV. We're all about Brantford. You're watching BCTV, Brantford Government Television, a service of Brantford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Brantford.
Like, I don't want to lose the one.
Okay, yeah, I have two. I have three, actually.
The flag's downstairs.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the R.T.M. Everybody's attention, please. The R.T.M. will be convened on Tuesday, September 10th, 2019, at 8 p.m. at the Brantford Fire Headquarters, 45 North Main Street, to consider act upon the following matters. Will everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
This program was
Right wing.
Which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They pulled a fast one on us.
Chief, we got to make sure that flag gets to the right side now. Okay, item one is roll call. Before we do the roll call, though, I would like to have a moment of silence for our passing member of the R.T.M., Jim Walker. Jim was a loyal person, served on the committees, a good member of the R.T.M. From my understanding, there will be a vigil on October 5th. If anybody's interested, you go on the W.S. Clancy website, and I believe it to give you more details about that. I think the date is October 5th, from my understanding.
That's correct.
A moment of silence for Jim Walker. Okay, item number one, roll call.
Representative Edelman.
Present.
Representative Alphone.
Here.
Representative Anderson.
Here.
Representative Austin.
Here.
Representative Black.
Here.
Representative Brockett. Representative Conklin.
Here.
Representative Erlinger.
Here.
Representative Greenberg.
Here.
Representative Healy.
Present.
Representative Henschel.
Here.
Representative Ingraham.
Here?
Representative Jackson.
Here.
Representative Leonard. Representative Leonard, absent. Representative Preet. Absent. Representative Lombardi.
Here.
Representative Riccio. Absent. Representative Sumro.
Here.
Representative Stepanik.
Here.
Representative Sullivan.
Here.
Representative Torelli.
Present.
Representative Traw.
Here.
Representative Toohill.
Here.
Representative Kelly.
Here.
Representative Wells.
Here.
Representative Sember.
Here.
Representative Dunbar.
Yeah, here, thanks.
We already got him off.
I think you're gonna mark it.
Efficiency in government.
Item number two, approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. Two previous meetings would have been June and July.
I'll make that motion.
The motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of June and July signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved without exception. Item number three, reception of communications, reports of committees, and citizens' petitions. I have a few here I will read, but I want to make a reference to tomorrow at 8:30 at the fire headquarters. The moment of remembrance of September 11th will take place. If anybody can make it, it will take place tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. I have a letter here addressed to me from the chairman of the Board of Finance, Mr. Moody. Attention, Dennis Flanagan, moderator. As of the meeting of the Board of Finance held on July 29, 2019, the following resolution was adopted. Resolved that the resolution entitled Resolution Appropriating $3,975,000 for Town of Brantford Sewer System Improvements and authorizing the issue of $3,975,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriations, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose is hereby adopted and recommended for approval by the representative town meeting. resolved that the resolution entitled Resolution Appropriating $1,750,000 for the reconstruction of the East Industrial Road and authorizing the issuance of $1,750,000 bonds of the town of Branford to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof and making temporary borrowings for such purpose, is hereby adopted and recommended for the approval by the representative town meeting. I have a letter here addressed to me by Mr. Wayne Cook. Dear Mr. Moderator, at a recent meeting of the R.T.M. Ways and Means Committee in which an additional $150,000 was requested for legal fees, no committee member in attendance inquired as to what services constituted the amount, and if not for the citizen input, the entire $150,000 would have been approved with no questions asked. Furthermore, in direct violation of the R.T.M. rules and the town charter, that funding must first be appropriated for any expense, the $150,000 requested had already been spent and was being submitted for payment after the fact. In light of this lack of due diligence and violations of the charter and the additional revelations at the meeting that only the first selectman reviews and approves the town legal invoices, it is asked that the R.T.M. establish a procedure by which all legal fees are examined and understood by your body before they are approved for payment. This item, as indicated, was approved a month or two back, and from my understanding, the finance director was there to answer any questions, and the committee members had the opportunity to speak to this item. Therefore, no further action will be taken on this. I have another letter addressed to me from Mr. Wayne Cook. Dear Mr. Moderator, attached are photographs of the demolition debris piled at the former Atlantic Wire mill site on Meadow Street in Branford. This is an increasing public concern that this material contains asbestos and other harmful substances which are polluting the air and surrounding areas and creating a serious public safety hazard. Given that the town hall continues to ignore these uncovered debris piles and the potential dangers they pose, it is asked that the Branford R.T.M. immediately intervene in this crisis issue. Signed by Wayne Cook. He also sent a copy to the Connecticut Department of Public Safety, the East Shore Health Department, the Sound, the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, the New Haven Register, and the Branford Patch. He's done everything he's supposed to do on this, but this is nothing, again, because this particular site is still in litigation, and it's not an item to come before the R.T.M. at this point. So no action will be taken on this also.
Oh, Mr. Moderator, could I
Yes.
just make a comment?
Yes.
I know that Atlantic Wire borders the 5th District, and I actually work in public health and have been involved in the past with debris piles that actually contained contaminants that were hazardous to the public health. I don't know if this debris pile is hazardous, but I do hope that the town pursues this and looks into this, because it could truly be a problem, and I think that it's important for our residents to feel comfortable that the town, as well as state agencies, are actually assuring that the debris pile does not pose a hazard, unless, or perhaps that has been something that has been researched.
Selectman Cosgrove, you want to speak to that?
I think that was a question.
I was
Addressing it, well,
okay.
certainly, as I'm sure you're aware, being in the field, that public health, demolition is a highly regulated activity. Prior to the demolition occurring, as well as when it initially started, I had been contacted by neighbors who were concerned of it. I did reach out to the health district, as well as our building official, to confirm that all procedures and procedures were being followed, which they then reviewed that there was a demolition plan in place, an LEP. They went out there, inspected, as well as followed up to ensure that all documentation is being filed that is appropriate to come to the town hall. I'm not going to speak directly to those claims, but certainly from a town standpoint, as far as reviewing, as I think we have been, do take any activity seriously and make sure the proper procedures are being followed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 4, to approve an agreement by and between the town of Brantford and the Brantford Firefighters Local 2533 International Association of Firefighters AFL-CIO to June 2022. Representative Conklin.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The Public Services Committee heard a presentation on this contract on September 5th. The contract was ratified by the union on August the 13th. In essence, it is a 3-year contract. At least according to Attorney Ryan, handled rather nicely. And one proof of that is we're not going to be going into contingency to pay back years' funds because we agreed on the contract, or the union did, and if we do tonight, it's in this fiscal year, so we only have a couple of months' worth that we have to make up for. So the negotiations, according to Attorney Ryan, went very well. In essence, it's a 3-year contract with 2.5% increase in each year. And said that puts us in the middle, or somewhere in the middle within the state of comparable raises. It clarified for Chief Mahoney a number of procedures that are already being done but wasn't written in the contract, so in order to do away with ambiguity, they got written into the contract. Some of it is what and when you can accumulate sick time and vacation time while on FMLA or otherwise out of work. It codifies how often you can decline a call-in if needed. And it changes some wording because, as you know, we increased our staffing. So it allows to assign 10 to a shift, not 8 as was in the prior contract. Those are just some of the highlights, and I will say that we listened to a presentation for about an hour and 10 minutes. I'm not prepared to share an hour and 10-minute presentation with you, and the contract was approved unanimously in committee, and I would put that in the form of a motion.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote.
Representative Edelman.
Yes.
Representative Alphone.
Yes.
Representative Anderson.
Yes.
Representative Austin.
Yes.
Representative Black.
Yes.
Representative Brockett, yes. Representative Conklin.
Yes.
Representative Dunbar.
Yes.
Representative Erlinger.
Yes.
Representative Greenberg.
Yes.
Representative Healy.
Yes.
Representative Henschel.
Yes.
Representative Ingraham.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes.
Representative Lombardi.
Yes.
Representative Representative Sumro.
Yes.
Representative Stepanek.
Yes.
Representative Sullivan.
Yes.
Representative Torelli. Yes. Representative Trout.
Yes.
Representative Toohill.
Yes.
Representative Kelly.
Yes.
Representative Wells.
Yes.
Representative Sember.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Contract has been approved unanimously. Okay, item number 5, 6, and 8, and 9. Representative Ingraham?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. These items are all for the Rules and Ordinance Committee. Rules and Ordinance did not meet in the month of August. between the July meeting and this meeting. So I'll make a motion that all the items be re-referred.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none? All those in
Mr.
favor?
Moderator?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Moderator, I've, some of these items, several of them actually, 5, 6, and 9, the committee has actually voted language out of committee and sent to the town attorney. And even though we didn't meet in August, we're still waiting for a review of that language to come back to the committee. I'm wondering if you could speak to or provide any answers as to what's taking so long for this language review?
I can't comment on that, I really don't know.
I was actually asking.
As the acting chair
yeah.
for this evening, I don't have an answer for that. I know there's items before August, so I won't use vacations or time off as part of it.
Mr. Moderator, I have a follow-up then. Maybe the first selectman could shed some light on the delay on the review of the language that we sent to the town attorney?
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer, because a delay you speak of. I will follow up, I guess, on behalf of the RTM, or if the RTM would like to just contact directly. But just for clarification, this is language that was approved by committee.
Correct.
And was sent just for a final review to make sure it's,
Yeah,
doesn't
per our
conflict with-
code, as you
yeah.
know, we have to have the town attorney
Town
approve it.
review that and get that back? Okay, I can follow up on that, so.
Okay, yeah, because as you also know, we only have one more meeting until this session ends. And so as opposed to having to redo everything, all the work,
Yeah.
and we'd like to get some of this done.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
For clarification, that's 5, 6, and 9 on the language. 8 doesn't have the language.
Eight doesn't have-
It does not. 5, 6, and 9. Thank you.
I'll copy it.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, item number 7, to approve a resolution. and-
Oh, yeah, we have
Well,
to vote to
sorry, you're
re-refer.
right. You gotta vote on it. All those in favor of re-referring these items, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, items are 5, 6, 8, and 9 are re-referred. Item number 7, to approve resolutions and transfers relating to the 7/24/2019 RTM approval of the purchase of property at 16 Summer Island Road as follows. Resolved that the RTM approves an increase in appropriations for the fiscal year 2020 general fund balance from $115,297,464 to $115,322,464. This increase will be funded through an increase in the miscellaneous income appropriations from fund balance that will be used to fund a transfer to the land acquisition. And then we further resolve that the RTM approves an appropriation of $25,000 in the land acquisition fund. This appropriation will be funded through a transfer from the general fund. From land acquisition fund, increased transfer in $25,000 and increased land $25,000, and from the general fund transfer, miscellaneous income $25,000 increase, and increased transfer out of land acquisition $25,000. Representative Alfone.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Admin Services met on September 3rd. This was a follow-up item on the purchase of 16 Summer Island Road, which we, the RTM, approved at our July meeting. At that time, we did not have the full resolution for the funding end of the item. Tonight, we have the resolution. It is attached, and funding is coming out of the Land Acquisition Fund. We're going to dip into that a little bit deeper in item number 19. This was approved by committee with a 4-0 vote, and I'd put that forward to the full body.
Representative Black.
Yeah, Ways and Means also met on this in July, actually. But as you said, this is cleaning up, and this is really being funded out of the undesignated fund balance and then washed through the land acquisition fund. So we also approved it unanimously, 5-0, and that's in the form of, we'll just leave the other motion on the floor.
Dopo.
Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item carries. Now we move on to item 10, to consider and if appropriate, approval request from the Human Resource Director for the following fiscal 2019 budget transfer from wages and salaries, $3,310. 2, employment testing, $3,310. Representative Alfone.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, Admin Services met on September 3rd and heard this item. The requested transfer will cover the costs associated with onboarding and employment testing for new employees. There was some additional employees, or more than anticipated, for this year. The transfer is for fiscal year 19. It's an interdepartment transfer. Admin Services approved this unanimously with a 5-0 vote, and I'd put that forward to the full body.
Any discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item carries. Item number 11, to consider and if appropriate, approval request and corresponding resolution from the Board of Education to redesignate $52,371 for capital projects to entrance security upgrades. Capital Procurement Fund transfer from transfer in $14,195 to increase Brantford High School security entrance $14,195. General Fund transfer 2020 to increase miscellaneous income $14,195, and to increase transfer out BOE Capital Fund $700 for $14,195. And then from R.T.M window replacements $1,750 to MRT window replacements $1,750 to MRT sidewalk driveway repairs $1,076. From roof replace and water incur, $2,608. From JBS hallway classroom carpet, $10,000. To replace phone and PA system, $1,178. JBS CAF and VCT replacement, $17,387. BHA CAF and sound system, $2,427. Subtotal of $700 capital procurement fund, $38,176. Transfer out capital BOE, $14,195 for a total of $52,371. And BHS enter security upgrade, $26,186. And Indian Neck entrance security upgrade, $26,185 for a total of $52,371. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. These are transfers from closed-out projects into security upgrades for Brantford High School and the Indian Neck School. That project was funded for this fiscal year, but the funding did not include a contingency amount, so this is moving leftover funds, some of which were bonded and some of which were paid from general fund into that project so that they have a contingency as they move forward with the project. Again, we heard this in Ways and Means in July, and it's approved 5-0. So I put that in form of motion for approval by the full body. Thank you.
Also part of this is a resolve that the R.T.M approves an increase in appropriation for the fiscal year 2020 general fund budget from $115,322,464 to $115,336,659. This increase will be funded through an increase in the miscellaneous income and used to fund a transfer to the capital procurement fund. This is all part of this item.
Correct.
Any discussion on the motion to approve this? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This item carries. Item number 12, to consider and if appropriate, hear a personnel request for the Dan Cosgrove Animal Shelter for the following transfer request and resolution. Increase fund balance fund brought forward $37,960. Increase regular wages and salaries $37,960. Resolved that the R.T.M approves an increase in the appropriation in the fiscal year 2020 Animal Control Fund budget from $334,072 to $372,032. This increase will be funded through a transfer from the unappropriated fund balance. Representative Conklin.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The Public Services Committee heard this on August the 1st, and this is taking a part-time employee, making them a full-time employee, and more than likely increasing the number of kid camps that they have, and therefore also increasing the amount of revenue that it brought in. And there's not been an increase for, and I don't know the number of years, and she's not here, so I'm not exactly sure how many years it's been, but the services at the shelter have increased dramatically over those years. So the, sorry, the director has been wanting to increase this for a couple of years and had initially proposed it for this past budget time, but the first selectman thought that we should wait until the new HR director had a chance to review job description and the jobs that would be done. That has occurred, and we had the recommendation that night that we approve that increase, and it did pass unanimously, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, it carries. We're going to move a little bit out of sequence on this. From my understanding, we need to
Resolutions are in the wrong order.
approve 14 and 15 before we go to 13. We just got out of sequence with the Board of Finance. So is that correct, Representative Black?
That's correct.
All right, well, we'll start with item 14. To consider and if appropriate, consider request from the Finance Director for the approval of the following transfers and resolution. Sewer Assessment Fund transfer fiscal 2020, increase the fund balance brought forward $1 million and increase the transfer out $1 million. Infrastructure Enhancement Fund transfer 2020, transfer in $1 million and increase the capital outlay infrastructure by $1 million. Resolved that the R.T.M. approves an increase in the appropriation in the fiscal year 2020 sewer assessment fund budget from $14,926 to $1,014,926. This increase will be funded through a transfer from the unappropriated fund balance and will be used to supplement the rehabilitation and replacement of sewer lines and force mains. Representative Black.
Thank you. As those of you who've been involved with the budget process for this year and gone to the Board of Finance meetings and others, WPCA, we have an old sewer system in town, and some of it's about 60 years old, and it's reaching the point of failure in many sections, particularly the center of town. It's clay pipe there, and there's a lot of root intrusion places. There's also Hemlock Road is a cast iron pipe that has several leaks in it. So this is for repair or replacement of major areas of town. It's really all part of the project with number 15 here. It's about a $4 million that the WPCA is looking to appropriate to maintain the sewer system and bring it up into the condition that it should be in. As you may or may not know, we've been under consent decrees in prior years. First to the actual sewer plant, which we put 30 million or so into, and it's state-of-the-art and still functions wonderfully. The problem is that we have leaks in the system, so we have intrusion of groundwater that winds up being treated at the sewer plant that shouldn't need to be treated, and we've got water coming in. We may have effluent going out, which is perhaps why the tree roots are growing so wonderfully in the sewers. So the WPCA is looking to get a large sum of money. During the budget process, I mentioned that we have over $3 million in sewer assessment fund. It's about $3.8 million. That's funds that people have paid for prior projects. Those projects are complete. It's essentially a surplus. We've been using that for legal fees over the years. So I asked the question at the Board of Finance if we couldn't use some of that money toward maintaining the sewers and rebuilding the sewers as required. And the Finance Director did check with bond counsel, et cetera, and since all those bonds are paid off, we can use some of those funds toward maintaining the sewers or rebuilding them. So the Board of Finance has moved to take $1 million out of the sewer assessment fund and put it toward rebuilding the sewers. So that's number 14, and that's increasing the sewer assessment fund budget up to a little over $1 million from the 14,000. So we heard this in committee in July and approved it unanimously, 5-0. So I put that in the form of a motion.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item carries. And then we have to do 15 now before we go to 13, correct, Representative Black?
That's correct. This is the balance of the project, or maybe we should have even done this one first, but this is the $4 million is the total number that they're looking forward, starting with the bond authorization at that amount and the appropriation amount at that amount, but they're expecting to borrow about $3 million at this point because we appropriated the $1 million 2 minutes ago.
Okay, item 15.
And so I'd ask first that we waive the full reading of the bond resolution.
Let me read the item 15 first. To receive communication with respect to and to consider and act upon a resolution entitled Resolution Appropriating $3,975,000 for the Town of Brantford Sewer System Improvements and authorizing the issue of $3,975,000 bonds of the town to make said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. The full text of the resolution is on file, open to the public inspection in the office of the town clerk. Representative Black, your motion to waive the reading of the resolution?
Yes, and I need it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Oh, any discussion on the motion to waive the reading of the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now you can make your motion to approve.
Yeah, so we heard this in committee in July, unanimous approval, 5-0. So I put that in the form of a motion for final approval by the full representative town meeting.
Does this bonding issue require this would also require a roll call vote, Representative Black. So item 15 is going to require a roll call vote.
Representative Edelman.
Yes.
Representative Alphone.
Yes.
Representative Anderson.
Yes.
Representative Austin.
Yes.
Representative Black.
Yes.
Representative Brockett, yes. Representative Conklin.
Yes.
Representative Dunbar.
Yes.
Representative Erlinger.
Yes.
Representative Greenberg.
Yes.
Representative Healy.
Yes.
Representative Henschel.
Yes.
Representative Ingraham.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes.
Representative Leonard. Representative Lombardi.
Yes.
Representative Sumro.
Yes.
Representative Stepanik.
Yes.
Representative Sullivan.
Yes.
Representative Torelli.
Yes.
Representative Trow.
Yes.
Representative Toohill.
Yes.
Representative Kelly.
Yes.
Representative Wells.
Yes.
Representative Zember.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Item is approved unanimously. Now we go back up to item 13. Now that we approve the 14 and 15, to consider and if appropriate, consider request to increase the Riverview Avenue sewer extension appropriation as follows. Sewer assessment fund transfer, fiscal 2020, fund balance brought forward $50,000, increased transfer out $5,000. Capital fund 700, transfer fiscal year 2020, transfer in $50,000, and capital outlay in fracture $50,000. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Riverview Avenue is an island, Riverview Avenue is a street in the Highland Park section of Short Beach. It's a lot of rock ledge. Like many of our shoreline areas developed 100-plus years ago. At that point, people used to just put the pipe out into the river or the sound. So there's not always room for a good septic system and leaching field. There's a number of houses there, one with a failing field, I believe, and some with tanks, holding tanks that are pumped out frequently at cost to the town. This money is to offset some of the cost for the residents there of installing a sewer, extending the sewer out through the ledge. The residents will be paying about $6,000 each in a sewer assessment, and the sewer fund will cover about half the cost of extending the pipe out there. As residents hook into the sewer, that's when they'll pay their assessment. Again, it's in the town's interest to have people hook up here, hook up to the sewer. Again, this was part of the consent decree to try to keep any sewage from seeping into bodies of water. So we heard this in July and voted unanimously 5-0 to approve this. This is again coming out of Sewer Assessment Fund, past assessments made for sewer construction being used for this sewer construction. So I put that in the form of a motion for the full body's approval.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Just without objection, Representative Conklin's reminding me that that included the resolution there, raising the sewer assessment fund budget. So
noted. So noted. Now we move on to item 16, to receive communications with respect to and to consider and act upon a resolution entitled Resolution Appropriating $1,750,000 for the reconstruction of the East Industrial Road and authorizing the issuance of $1,750,000 bonds of the town of Brantford to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. The full text of the resolution is on file and open to the public inspection at the town clerk's office. Representative Black.
thank you, Mr. Moderator. First, I'd like to move to waive reading of the full resolution.
Second.
Motion on the floor has been second to waive the reading of the full resolution. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Reading of the resolution has been waived. Representative Black.
Thank you. This is a motion for borrowing and appropriating $1.75 million for rebuilding East Industrial Road. If anybody doesn't know where that road is, it's the spur of a road that leads from Leeds Island Road past the truck stop, past the new exit 56 exit and access ramp, and on to Rings End. Gets a lot of heavy truck traffic. It was built in the 1970s with the truck stop. Now gets even more with the realignment of the exit. If anybody's driven on it, it has potholes all the time. We've tried, minimal repairs to it. This is to rebuild the entire road, take everything down, put in new gravel substrate, et cetera, and build it from the, soil up, so that it doesn't get the potholes that it does and so that it can handle the truck traffic. Did mention previously to the first selectman and to our new town engineer, I'd love to have the state take custody of this road. They do in other areas, since, the spur really from the exit to Leeds Island Road and out to Route 1, he said there's no way they're taking custody of it in the condition it is in. So hopefully if we repair it, perhaps we can sell it to them. But they don't want to buy our decrepit road. So, the road's falling apart now. We need to fix it. We heard this in committee, approved it 5-0, and I'll put that in the form of a motion for the full RTM's approval.
Okay, this also requires a roll call vote.
Representative Edelman?
Yes.
Representative Alphone?
Yes.
Representative Anderson?
Yes.
Representative Austin?
Yes.
Representative Black?
Yes.
Representative Brockett, yes. Representative Conklin?
Yes.
Representative Dunbar?
Yes.
Representative Erlinger?
Yes.
Representative Greenberg?
Yes.
Representative Healy?
Yes.
Representative Henschel?
Yes.
Representative Ingraham?
Yes.
Representative Jackson?
Yes.
Representative Lombardi?
Yes.
Representative Sumro?
Yes.
Representative Stepanik,
Yes.
Representative Sullivan,
Yes.
Representative Torelli,
Yes.
Representative Trout,
Yes.
Representative Toohill,
Yes.
Representative Kelly,
Yes.
Representative Wells,
Yes.
Representative Sember.
Yes.
Unanimous, Mr. Moderator.
It's a unanimous vote, it's been approved. Item 17, to consider and if appropriate, approve requests from the Board of Fire Commissioners for the following fiscal 2018-2019 budget transfers from regular wages and salaries, $35,000, from purchase services R&M, $7,945, for a total of $42,945, to overtime, $42,945, from replacement vacation, $39,000, from stipends, $12,000, from utility personnel, $3,000, from hydrants, $652, for a total of $54,652, and to sick pay, $54,652, from holiday pay, $17,200, from overtime public events, $8,700, from other fuel, $3,800, from ambulance billing, $3,369, for a total of $33,069, to education incentive, $33,069, from hydrants, $19,000, from employment testing, $5,102, for a total of $24,102, to accumulated sick pay, $24,102, and from administrative services, $1,240, for a total of $1,240, to furniture and fixtures for $1,240. Representative Conklin.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Again, this item was heard August the 1st by the Public Services Committee, and it is a lot of words, as we just had. It is a lot of ink. Essentially, it is an intra-budget 2018, 2019, put the money in the right bucket for accounting purposes. And so the committee heard this on 8-1 and voted unanimously to approve. And I put that in form of a motion.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion on the approval? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item carries. Item 18, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Recreation Department for the following fiscal 2019 budget transfer from purchase services R&M, $4,300, to uniform clothing allowance, $500, and to utilities, water, gas, and electric, $3,800. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This was presented by Rec Department Director Alex Paluzzi at our meeting September 4th. This, like the prior item, end-of-year cleanup, utility bills came in a little higher than budgeted, but there was money left over in other areas in this department, purchase services, repair and maintenance, and clothing allowance. Well, we needed money in clothing allowance, which is a contractually obligated item for employees. So we approved this 5-0, so I put that in the form of motion for the full body.
Motion on the floor to approve this item. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item carries. Item 19, to hear a request from the First Selectman for an appropriation from the general fund into the land acquisition fund to provide additional resources for future land purchases and if appropriate, approve the following fiscal year 2019 transfer from the general fund transfer from contingency $166,000, from bond payments $9,000, to transfer out land acquisitions $175,000. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We heard this also September 4th. This is really to put money in the land acquisition fund so we don't have to make specific appropriations as we did for the Summer Island Road purchase. If there's small pieces of land or that the town wants to acquire, we would still, by ordinance, any purchases would come to this committee. We approved this 4-1. I voted against it. I'd rather see this contingency go to pension, but I was on the losing end. So I'll put the committee's report in the form of a motion and put it for the full RTM for approval.
Any discussion on the?
Just a quick question.
Yeah, Representative
Through you, Mr.
Sullivan?
Moderator. It's my understanding that this plus the other contingency transfer will zero out that account for the year?
It has some $400 is what we were discussing at our meeting. We thought it was $225, and apparently there were a few other dollars kicking around.
Okay, thank you.
You might use that for the RTM picnic.
It's zero.
I like it.
Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The item carries. Item number 20, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Finance Director for the following appropriation for the fiscal year 2019 undesignated fund balance and corresponding resolution. General Fund, from fund balance $250,000 to operating transfer outs fund $250,000, and then from fund 700 transfer in $250,000, and to increase seawall repairs Brantford Point $200,000, and to increase supply pond dam repairs for $50,000. Transfer and resolution from the fund balance is resolved that the RTM increases the appropriation for the fiscal year 2019 general fund budget from $113,969,473 to $1,219,473. This increase will be funded through an appropriation from the fund balance and be used to fund the capital improvements. Representative Black.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. And we heard this September 4th. There was some spirited discussion. There are funds left over in these accounts, but we approved it 5-0. These are funds for the seawall repair around Brantford Point. So the supply pond dam we're completely responsible for. There's some unfinished items from the last inspection of the dam that needs repair, and there's another inspection coming up shortly. So we want to get the dam in good shape. It's also a high-risk dam as far as risk of, well, the damage that could be caused if it fails. It is our responsibility entirely now. So, like I said, we had some discussion about these amounts, but I believe we were satisfied, right, Tom, Representative Brockett? And so we approved it 5-0. So I put that in the form of a motion for
Motion on the floor to-
and approving the resolution as well, which raises the overall general fund budget for last year to there. Thank you.
The seawall repairs at Brantford Point, for those interested, it's down by the flagpole area, down all around there.
No, it's
And
the dock. No, it's the dock.
No, it's the walls in the back.
No. The Brantford Point, I have the backup documentation from the town engineer. The Brantford Point $200,000 is the collapse of the seawall in the far left-hand corner as you're facing the water looking at Pawson Park. It's underneath the dock itself, and then once they lift that part of the dock up, there'll be some repairs that have to be done there. So that's the seawall that needs to be fixed down at Brantford Point.
Okay, because I know they did fix the down by the flag area, all that area was also repaired.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was already done.
Okay. Any further discussion on this motion to approve? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries. Item 21.
You gotta do A, B, C, D, and E because they're different bodies.
Well, I know, it's,
Okay.
yeah. Item 21, to consider and if appropriate approval request from the Finance Director for the following closeout budget transfers for fiscal 2019. And the first one will be elections, A, and from membership and conferences, $260, to seasonal and part-time help, $260. Representative Alphone?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to make a motion to waive Town Rule 4.4.1 on this item.
Is there a second? There is? Okay.
I'll second it.
Second?
Thank you.
Okay.
Third, whatever we need.
Any discussion on waiving Rule 441? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The rule is waived. Representative Alphone.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Admin Services did not hear this item in committee. I kind of skipped over it when I was putting the agenda together, but this is a $260 transfer, which is it's cleaning up the budget from last year. So moving money from one bucket to the next, and I would put that forward in the form of a motion.
Second.
There's a second.
Thank you.
Representative Ingram. Any discussion on the
wheel there.
motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item carries. Item B, general government buildings, from wages and salaries, $3,040, to accumulated sick, $3,040. Representative Conklin.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I would like to cover the transfer from GGB, Public Works, and the police detail all at the same time, if you don't mind.
That's okay. So
And
we're
this,
just-
these were,
So just for reference, we can do it all at one time, but we're referencing as B,
C
C,
and F.
and F.
yeah. And these were all heard at the Public Services Committee meeting on 9/5. And again, these are cleaning up budget transfers for 2019, putting things in the proper bucket. The only thing I think that needs any explanation is that special detail had higher expenses than expected, but it also had higher revenue than expected. So we're taking the higher revenue and paying the higher expenses. That's the $90,000. And in that, it's resolved that the R.T.M. increase the appropriations for the fiscal year from $114,219,000 to $114,309,000. And the increase is covered by the increased revenue from police services. And that was passed unanimously in committee, and I put that in form of a motion.
Okay, what I should do is on B, I'll read just for the public's interest on what we're doing is general government buildings from wages and salaries, $3,040, to accumulated sick, $3,040. Public works, from wages and salaries, $4,000. From other fuel, $14,615. To overtime, $7,200. To seasonal part-time, $6,000. To other purchase services, $1,402. To road paintings and signs, $4,013. And on item F, transfer and resolution for police special detail, increase special detail by $90,000 and increase special detail by $90,000 revenue. Motion on the floor to approve these items. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, carries. Now we go to D, municipal insurance. Peter?
Yeah, oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is the, probably the last transfer from contingency, Representative Sullivan, leaving us with a balance of a little over $400 in last year's contingency. Some of you can remember back to our last meeting, we took some money out of property insurance. Jim got the final bills in, and turns out he took out a little too much, so he's using some of the contingency to backfill that, and so we approved this transfer 5-0, and I put that in the form of a motion. Thank you.
Motion on the floor to approve this transfer. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we go to E, Willoughby Wallace Library, Representative Toohill.
Thank you.
From library staff, $250 to longevity, $250.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. The R.T.M. Education Committee heard this item last night, September the 9th. We had a quorum present. Basically, what this is about is our librarian at the Willoughby Wallace, Alice Pence, is now eligible for a $250 payment for her longevity of, she was in her 5th year. And I was there with Representative Jackson attended, along with Representative Lombardi, and we spoke with Mrs. Pence, and we decided to approve it, and the vote was 3-0. So I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, Mr. Moderator.
Motion on the floor to approve this transfer. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries. And then finally, resolved that the RTM increases appropriation for the fiscal year 2019 general fund ballot budget from $114,219,473 to $114,309,473. This increase will be funded through an increased estimated revenue derived from special detail receipts and will be used to offset special detail expenditures. That's part of that.
Yeah, we did.
We did all at one shot?
Yeah, all at one shot, yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure. Very good.
Representative Conklin tried to get us to approve that previously. I believe we did.
All right. Okay, item 22, any other business to come before the RTM?
Mr. Moderator?
Yes,
I just like to say a couple words about Jim Walker. Really going to miss him. He kind of left us, as he's left many of these meetings. Those of us who've been around, you know, the quick Irish goodbye. Really got to sit with him about a month before he passed. Feeling good. He was at, I'll change that. We were at Tommy Sullivan's. We were both feeling good. But I was meeting up with my nephew, and my nephew was late. And you know, when you get to have something like that, you had a really good conversation. It wasn't really political. It was just town stuff and having a good time. And then to have something like that he suddenly left us was it really hit. And he's a guy that he's the only other person other than my mother. They called me Raymond. But the funny part of it is his was the most endearing way. When I heard it from my mother, it was a different story. So just that I personally would miss him. I know that all of you that were touched by him, knew what a great soul he was to Jimmy.
Thank you. Any other business come before the RTM? If not, we'll go on to item number 23, adjournment. Representative Torelli,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Representative Dunbar. Oh, wow. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Brantford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BrantfordTV.org.